Hey, what's up, phone numbers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of August 5th, 2015. I'm Joe Fedua.
I am Christopher Chavez.
And I'm Ashley King.
Welcome to August, guys.
It is.
We made it.
We made it. This has been the weirdest August so far. It's like getting kind of cool again here. It was really hot in July, and usually it's like even hotter in August. August is usually like the worst, but now it's like, I think it's like 71 right now. It's very
I wish
pleasant.
I could say that about where I am, but it's been consistently like almost 100 degrees heat index every day.
Ugh.
Ooh, humid? Is it humid though? Is it like,
Yeah, it's like 90% humidity.
Heck yeah, she lives in the South.
Right?
Arkansas or Kansas?
Arkansas, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can't tell from my
Arkansas.
accent.
Wait,
Arkansas.
what state is that in? Arkansas? Kansas, Arkansas?
What?
Oh, wait, Arkansas
we'll pretend
is a
Chris
state,
is
right?
joking.
That is a
Yeah.
state.
We'll pretend Chris is joking.
Man.
Can I get that on a T-shirt? What state is Arkansas in?
Oh, man.
That's great. All right, so we're not so good at the geography, but we can talk about phones. And there some good stuff happened this week. My favorite story is what we'll lead off with, and it's not even really a news story at all. Just some dude put stock Android on a basically iPhone. I mean, not a legit iPhone, just like one of those knockoff iPhones. And he went around and showed it to people. Chris, why don't you talk about what happened?
Yeah, so these guys with their YouTube channel, I guess they're like pranksters, like those prankster YouTubers that are all over. But anyways, they got one of those fake, I guess they call them like a goo phone or something.
Yeah.
They're in China and they run Android, but they run a version of Android that's skinned heavily, so it really looks like iOS, like pretty much, like it's really, really close. And they just went around, I guess, I think they're somewhere in Europe or something like that, but they're just interviewing people like, hey, what do you guys think about iOS 9? This is like the new version of iOS that's going to come out soon, which is true. I think iOS 9 is supposed to come out in the next couple of weeks or something, so it was fairly relevant, but people were, I guess they were kind of, I mean, when you're interviewing like that, you tend to not really say bad things about something because you're just like, oh yeah, that's cool, I like it. But yeah, most of the people they interviewed, at least the ones that they posted in their video, loved it. This is great. Like I can customize things, and I have widgets that I can take out of the notification, like all this stuff. They were basically like raving about it, and it's just hilarious because it's actually Android, and none of these people knew.
There was like one guy who did.
Oh yeah. I think he was like,
that looks a lot like my phone or something like that.
yeah, huh? That's interesting. It looks like my phone. Like maybe I would get it then. Like, it's funny. It's hilarious because it's kind of telling. I think, like iOS really, if you haven't used iOS, you don't really know, I guess, the restrictions and how weird like their home screen is. Like just that alone is probably the most frustrating part. Because you can't really like organize the apps the way you want them to. They all get pushed to the top. So like if you try to, it's the most infuriating thing on the planet, and I don't know how like iOS users do it, but it's really, really frustrating. Just to mimic my home screen setup from my Android phone on iOS was like pulling teeth. It was
I
really,
couldn't
really
even
difficult.
do it. Like I use a lot of white space on my screen.
Yeah.
Nothing is, and can't even do that. So
Most of my home screens are always blank.
It's so cluttered, and because there's no like alphabetize, like it doesn't alphabetize anything. They just get thrown whenever you install something. It gets thrown to the bottom of the list. You have to pull down and actually type in a search to find like that special app that maybe you can. Cause I have like I think 200 apps or something installed on my iPhone, and it's ridiculous. So if I have to look for something that I haven't like really thought out and specifically placed it somewhere where I know where it's at, it's like I'll be searching for way longer than I would like to on my phone, and it's ridiculous. I don't know how people deal with that.
This is what my home screen looks like for like the last, I don't know, 5 years probably. I always keep it in this 2 rows of 5 icons.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I have. I got the dock, the 2 rows. Maybe sometimes I'll have like either like a clock widget on top or the search bar.
I have a weather widget, but other than that, mine looks very similar.
Yeah, like, and
I'm
it's been that
very
way.
very particular about it. If I have widgets, I put my widgets on the side screens,
Yeah.
not on the main one. I don't know.
I've
It's weird.
tried to put widgets on the. To me, like widgets in Android. I mean, to be honest, I don't really use them. I don't think I've ever really used them unless I had like Sense back in the day. But um, I tried to put them on the main home screen, but then everything looks way too cluttered. I'm like, I gotta get this out of here. Just like toss it away or something like that. But like, yeah, I've stuck to my same setup for since the G1 days. Like, it's nothing has changed. It's like it's ridiculous, and it's crazy because I see my girlfriend's phone and it drives me nuts because I want to like organize it the way mine is. I'm like,
Yeah.
this makes no sense. Why do you, like she has icons going all the way down the sides and kind of leaves the middle like row empty. It's just it drives me crazy because I'm just like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the thing about the fake iPhone and stuff, it's just I feel like people who are not as tech savvy, they don't really care. Like between Android and iOS, they just like Apple,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
they
No.
have
Like,
that brand loyalty, and that's like really nothing to even. That's not like a bad thing. People have brand loyalty in every aspect. You know, you have brand loyalty in the
everything.
car that you drive, maybe phone, tons of stuff. And so, some people just like Apple phones, some people like Samsung phones, and they don't really particularly care about what else is out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the video and looking at some of the comments and stuff, and people were like, "Man, stupid iOS users! Like, if they want customizability, they would have just get an Android and root it, and they can do it." I'm like, "Oh gosh, please stop, man! Like, no one's gonna like want like you don't really think some of these features and stuff that you get later, like even with Android or Apple ads later, like some of the stuff you didn't even think of you ever really needed, you know. So like all these people are completely content. They've been, with iOS since the beginning, so allowing them to put a widget on their home screen or I don't do all this other extra stuff. Like you don't really realize that you even want that until you get it. So these people aren't like suffering or something like the way I guess a lot of Android fans kind of like see iOS users as either dumb sheep or they're just kind of like suffering with this horrible iPhone and yada yada. It's like I don't know. I just think that the Android versus iPhone debate is always kind of funny. It's you like what you like.
And it was like the phone that they had and the setup they had was like stock Android. It was very clean setup. And I'm sure most of these iPhone users, anytime they had seen an Android device, it never looked anything like that.
Yeah, not at all.
It's probably like they saw your girlfriend with like weird rows, columns of apps, and it was like, oh my god, it's hideous.
No, not doing it. I'm never touching an Android. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, there are probably like actual legit people out there who just think Android is ugly because they saw some weird person on the subway who had like this horrible icon pack. And
yeah,
like, oh god.
Like metallic theme where it looks like metal and
oh god,
background.
That's hideous.
Barbed wire around the side.
That was like when I did that post way back in the day, the 5 types of Android users.
Yes.
Some of the like home screen setups just like, oh, gag. Oh.
It's so true. My girlfriend's brother who moved in with us, his background is like he's the hot chick. It's got like the hot chick setup.
Oh, he's got like scantily clad females in his background.
It's just
I never got that. Like you go out in public and you just have like some chick in a bikini and as a wallpaper as your background.
It's like weird. My parents are very conservative, so it's just something like I used to have just like a just like a regular like little Japanese chick, just like like just all fully clothed. But even that like felt weird if I was like around my mom or something, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I gotta change this right now because it's weird, it's odd. But
all right, so moving on, OnePlus. It's not a podcast if we don't talk about OnePlus.
Oh man, what are they up to this
couple
week?
things this week. We'll start with they are promising another phone already before the holidays.
Is this one gonna have NFC?
That's what they said. Yeah.
Oh, they said
that was like their. Did you see that they did an AMA on Reddit again? Which is like.
Yeah, I'm
always
I
like,
saw
why?
When they first posted it. Exactly, and these like the Android like the subreddit, they're so like anti OnePlus.
Yeah, they just eat them alive.
Yeah, they're like so like they don't. I mean, they don't hold back at all. So it's like for OnePlus, this is their target audience. They're targeting this 1% of Android users, these hardcore Android users who happen to be in the Android subreddit. But it's like these are the people that will just like they're gonna tear you a new one because you don't have NFC, even if they don't use it. But that was painful. I mean, the comments and stuff. I was only there for like the first like 20 minutes or something, and I was already reading some of the stuff, and it was just like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a massacre. I'm out of here.
The first one was that way. I'm
Brutal.
surprised they agreed to a second one.
The first one was okay. Like some of the nicer comments like floated to the top, and like the questions and stuff asking like about the OnePlus 2, like what are you guys doing and blah blah blah, and it was very informative. This one was kind of like I think it was more this was their damage control.
Yeah, I was gonna say basically damage control.
Yeah.
As soon as you clicked the link, you just knew it was going to be a shit show.
It was so.
It was exactly that. Like every single comment was just about NFC or some
the
other
Android,
thing.
Yeah, the Android police article and stuff, which was funny. I don't think we mentioned that, but yeah. So everyone's really
first
pissed off.
just this Christmas thing. The reason basically that they gave for not having like NFC and stuff is that they're going to come out. They basically said that no one uses it right now, and they're going to come out with another phone before the holidays that will have it because by then people will be using it or something.
I mean, okay, so it's a fair argument to say that there's really not that many things that use NFC, and there's nothing that NFC really does that you can't, except for payments, mobile payments or whatever. But I mean, I can't even tell you honestly. This weekend, like I've gone places and it's so embarrassing. So I'm like, oh, can I use your? It's got the little tap to. Oh, that's not working, man. It's not working. Like, oh, freaking heck. But so there's not too many places where you can even use mobile payments right now. But Android Pay is coming out, and it's it's going to be this big thing along with Apple Pay, along with Samsung Pay, and all that stuff. But so I get when they say like, oh, the world's not ready yet for mobile payments. Like, okay, that's cool. But like to say that like we're not ready now and you don't need it on this phone, but then like 6 months later. Is it even 6 months? Like
no, it's less than 6 months.
It's
like 5.
4 months later, we're gonna have a phone that has NFC for you folks that really love to do mobile payments. I mean, they said basically it was like a year away before we start seeing all the big push towards mobile payments and everything. And they're like, well, by that time we'll have the new OnePlus. So if you guys don't like this one, where you can get the OnePlus 3 next year when it comes out with NFC. But I mean, it really doesn't go with their whole mantra of like never settle, and even that kind of rubbed people the wrong way because it's like, oh, you're saying that you're telling us to never settle, but then you're saying that next year's phone is going to have a feature that this year's phone doesn't.
You're literally saying settle for this right now
you're
until
like,
a better one comes out.
What are you talking about? Like,
that's literally what they're saying. They
don't make any sense, and this is really bad because with a normal company like these big manufacturers and OEMs, you have like this PR person who's got like another person who will like, can I type this? Can I write this in? And they're just like, no, you can't say that. With OnePlus, you're talking to like the co-founder. Really, there's only like a handful of employees there, and I mean, this guy doesn't have like some PR person who's telling him, screening what he can say and this and that. So he's just like, just shooting off the cuff, whatever, and it's always backfiring.
Even their new slogan, the 2016 flagship killer.
Oh gosh.
Even that slogan, because you're saying that this phone is going to be better than the phones that come out in 2016, but yet you're coming out with another phone this year.
So you're saying your phone is going to be better than your next phone? Like it's going to kill your next year's phone that you bring out? Like it's really like a mind.
I know we were talking about it last week, but OnePlus's whole marketing strategy is basically just clickbait. Like that's pretty much all it is.
They'll say something so outrageous that you will be like, what are they talking about? A 2016 flagship killer? You'll click, you'll see their phone, and possibly buy it or something. But I mean, and I think it's funny too because next year's phone is going to have to be the 2017 flagship killer. So
I don't even want to know what slogan they're going to have with that one.
2014, 20, I don't know, 2025 flagship killer. They're just going to keep running with it. And it's just so silly. But
all right, so the other half of the OnePlus news, talk about the blogs.
Yeah, so Android Police wrote this, I guess, kind of like a flaming editorial, which we're not really too used to seeing. Usually, you kind of tone things back and you say things in a nice way and constructive criticism, that type of thing. But this was just like straight on, like
It was something about how we shouldn't trust
res-
them or something, wasn't it?
yeah, like if OnePlus keeps like with this stupid marketing stuff, we shouldn't respect them or whatever. And it's like basically like it was kind of like a, I wouldn't even say it was. I don't know. It was kind of like a like you got like they hit OnePlus like right in the gut. I mean, to say that like you shouldn't even respect them. It wasn't even like we shouldn't even buy their phone or something. It was like straight up saying like the company as a
Yeah.
whole. Like,
Here's
you
the
shouldn't even
actual
respect them.
title. If OnePlus will basically just lie with marketing slogans, we have no reason to respect them. And that's like what we were just talking about with their slogans not even being true at all.
It's clickbait, but even then, I mean, like clickbait is never like blatantly false. And I mean, in a 2016 flagship killer, that's kind of subjective. I mean, I wouldn't even.
Right, you can't like point to a specific fact and be like, no, it's not. 'Cause-
And like, yeah, and where's the outrage when you go down to the sandwich stop down the street and they're like, we got the world's best coffee, and you're just like, this isn't the world's best coffee. And no one's flipping out and like posting this stuff online or anything, you know. So it's just, this is, you see that all the time. I can go online right now and find like the world's most comfortable shoe. That's not the world's most comfortable shoe. It's just it's a marketing thing, and it's like I wouldn't say they're flat out lying. So I don't really agree completely with the editor. I mean, it's the title anyway, but some of the stuff he said, it was pretty dang accurate, and so because of it, I guess OnePlus called Android Police, and they basically they quote unquote broke up with them. This was posted by Artem, the guy that runs Android Police, but he didn't give any details or anything like that, so you don't really know. I mean, the extent. This is basically his side of the story. Is like, OnePlus called and broke up with us.
They
But-
basically said like, and then OnePlus had released a comment about it too, saying
Yeah.
we didn't break up. Basically they said they are welcome to buy the phone just like everyone else, which was kind of funny too because like, well, actually no one can just go buy the phone.
yeah, people are like, oh, like everyone else, right? Yeah, I mean, but like you get review devices, so I mean, I'm assuming they just didn't. They said, oh, we're not gonna be able to send you a review device, which I mean that sucks as like a website or a blog or something like that for someone to cut you, like a manufacturer to cut you off like that. That sucks.
Especially a phone that's so hard to get.
Exactly. Yeah. So I
You
mean,
can't
and
just be like, all right, well, I guess I'll go to Best Buy and buy it myself then.
I mean, the thing is, the phone is so cheap. I mean, they have people, and they have like readers that will probably send them an invite if they really wanted to review it and this and that. But it's funny. I guess like what OnePlus was saying was more or less like, I don't know if it was OnePlus, but I think it was one of the guys from Android Police. Basically said that they're doing a contest where they're going to give away OnePlus 2 invites, and that was what OnePlus pulled away from them. They were just like, yeah, about those invites, we're not going to be able to get those out to you. And they were like, okay.
I find the whole thing crazy because last year I wrote an editorial about OnePlus that was not very nice either. And I just pulled up. The title of that one was OnePlus One equals marketing tricks and deception.
That's the same thing.
It
And
is.
we never heard a single thing from them.
Yeah, I mean, someone should have posted it to our Androiders. I mean, I'm glad they didn't, because then we probably wouldn't get any review units.
Oh, it totally was like on Android subreddit when I posted it.
Really?
It blew up pretty good, but I don't know, for whatever reason OnePlus didn't care back then.
I think you said it a little nicer, maybe.
Maybe I did.
Like they're talking about like their marketing, which everyone criticizes, and even they kind of know, like, yeah, we do get a little bit crazy, with the stuff we say, like.
In that editorial, I was accusing them of their marketing, but also I was basically accusing them of being Oppo.
Yeah.
That was
They
my thing.
basically are though. Like there's
They'll never say that
owned,
they are.
Yeah, wholly owned by Oppo, but I mean they always try to like say like, well, in China this works a little bit differently. Like, yeah, they own us, but we're our own little independent company and this and that. But the phones are Oppo phones. If you look at them, I mean they're the ones. It's just like it's weird. Like I kind of don't trust OnePlus, the things they say, but like it doesn't feel like a real company. I mean it's odd. I mean they rent out like they don't have a San Francisco office, so they rent out someplace and kind of pass it off as like their thing for like their announcement or whatever. it's just weird. It's always like smoke and mirrors with them. I feel like, and it's just like I don't know if I can trust them. They're the mom and pop shop of smartphone makers. It's weird.
Pretty much. Except not nearly as nice as mom and pop.
Yes, you're supposed exactly right. Like that's another thing too. Honestly, and that's what I was thinking the other day too. Is like, yeah, when you go to a mom and pop stop, you love the way they cater to you. You know, there's super awesome customer service or something like that. But with OnePlus, it's like they were going for this elitist angle. Like, I mean, I guess that's the people they're targeting. They're targeting that 1% of Android users who's just like the hardcore. So I don't know. It made them kind of like arrogant and like, oh, we're so much better than all this other stuff. But making smartphones isn't easy. It's not an easy business, and I think they're kind of
found
learning
that out.
Yeah, they're learning that the hard way, very hard.
All right. Before we move on to the next thing, it's to answer a live question we got here. This is from Muzaffar Amarov. Probably said that wrong.
No.
Have you guys seen the new GIF creation tool in the YouTube video player? How long has that been out?
I have not seen it.
I've not seen that either.
Wait, a GIF creation tool in the YouTube player?
I gotta go check this out.
It lets you GIF any part of any YouTube video? Because that'd be pretty crazy.
There's no way. I mean, I know Imgur lets you do that.
Yeah, Imgur has done that for a while. That's really cool. I didn't know that you could do that.
Did you see it? Do you have it?
No, but I mean, I don't know why he would just be telling us something that doesn't exist. I feel like I heard about that.
I literally have not heard anything about it, and I don't have any option to do that. So I'm not.
Well, I wonder if it's just from videos that like you upload to the YouTube app. If you're still listening, send us another comment about how it works, Muzaffar. But I also want to take this chance to talk about the new YouTube Player UI, which rolled out a couple days ago with the like transparent play and seek bar and stuff. Do you guys have that?
Yeah, I love it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. The only thing I wish is that you could still see the progress, like a thin red line across the very bottom to see the progress of the video or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so moving on. We've got some new LG Nexus 5 rumors starting to pick up. Chris, why don't you talk about some of the latest ones?
So yesterday there was some leaked specs. We don't really know how solid those are. So that's kind of like, I guess, if you're gonna give it a percentage rating of, I guess, trustworthiness, it's kind of low on there. But Gizmo China, which is a legit tech blog, they posted some specs from the Nexus 5 and the LG Nexus and the Huawei Nexus that they say is coming out very soon. And there's some. It's interesting because usually when someone makes up, or some random blog out there makes up, oh, we got leaked specs and this and that, they go crazy with the specs. Oh, we got like 8 gigabytes of RAM, or like Snapdragon 500,000, whatever. So this is like very legit sounding, and they even have like specific like model numbers for some of the parts and stuff that are in there. But so the rumor for the Nexus 5 is a 5.2-inch 1080p OLED display. This is going to be made by LG. Sounds very reasonable, a little bit bigger than the last Nexus 5 or whatever, but still 5 inches roundabout. And Snapdragon 620 processor, which sounds pretty lame because it's like, well, the last one had a Snapdragon 800, this one has a Snapdragon like 600 series, but this is actually supposed to be quicker in benchmarks and all that stuff and more powerful than the 800 was, so still promising. 4 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, which makes sense because if it was fake, they probably would have said DDR4 RAM, which is what a lot of these other manufacturers are using now. And then up to 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and a 3,180 milliamp hour battery.
Nice.
That's good. It's nice and big. That's what we want, but nothing too crazy. Then wireless charging, Wi-Fi, NFC, all that stuff. Interesting, very interesting. And then for the Huawei, they just reiterated what was EV-Leak's previous leak, which was just 5.7-inch quad HD AMOLED display, metal unibody design, 21 megapixel sensor using Sony's camera sensor, which is actually pretty nice. And then it also will come with Qualcomm's Resonance WiiPower wireless charging, which I believe we talked about last week or the week before.
Oh yeah, that new wireless charging that can go through metal.
Go through metal. You don't have to put it specific, like perfectly on something. Like that sounds freaking
The way
awesome.
wireless charging should be.
Exactly, it's the way wireless charging should be, and that's just it's amazing. I'm so excited if that's actually true. But again, like trustworthiness, I'm not really too sure on that one. But one of the things that was actually really interesting was case makers are already leaking out cases. I guess they got the CAD files, which are just like the schematics to build cases for the Nexus 5, the LG one, and those have leaked out, and those have this kind of crazy three holes on the back, which is pretty interesting. Which kind of lets you think that either it's going to have like a dual camera setup, which I really don't think so.
Yeah.
Or more than likely, it's just going to have a fingerprint sensor on the back, which a lot of people aren't too excited about. I mean, it's cool it has a fingerprint sensor, but on the back isn't really the most ideal place to put a fingerprint sensor.
Really?
People said that about the buttons on the LG phones too, but I like the buttons on the back.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't think it's that big of an inconvenience. I would rather it be on the front, but honestly, when you hold your phone, like my finger is already there, so it really, it just makes sense to kind of like boop, just have a little fingerprint sensor there, so it doesn't really bother me. But I know I've been seeing a lot of people not too excited about that. So that's kind of where it's at right now for the Nexus leaks. And we're only like a couple of months away from that, right? It's already August now. Yeah. September, October, November.
This be the year that Nexus phones actually have good cameras. I mean, besides the Nexus 6, that was pretty good.
Dude, the Nexus 6, don't even get me started, had an awesome camera. I freaking love the camera on the Nexus 6. The only problem was its performance, and this is why you can't just read off a spec sheet. And this is what I tell people all the time. You can't just look at a spec sheet and be like, oh, it's got a 21 megapixel camera, awesome. Oh, it's got this awesome sensor. It's got OIS, awesome, awesome, awesome. But if the performance just isn't there, like the Nexus 6, you open the camera, it takes forever to open. You push the button, it takes a while for it to snap the photo, and it's just like all that kind of takes away from the whole experience. So there's just so many more factors involved in smartphones and this and that than just looking at just raw specs, I guess. But
for sure,
that's my little rant. But it looks good. What do you guys get? Are you guys gonna go for the 5.7 Huawei Nexus, or are you gonna probably go for this LG thing?
What did you say the screen size of the LG was?
5.2.
5.2. Yeah, I'd have to see both of them how they are like in person, because the 5.7-inch Moto X is not really that big. I mean, compared to like a Nexus 6, it's actually considerably smaller than the Nexus 6, which only has a little bit of a bigger screen. I'll have to see what they look like in person, but I really liked the LG Nexus 5, the first one. So
yeah, if they could just do that again, that'd be great. That would be great. Yeah, so I'm totally going for this LG one, even though I'm not a big fan of LG phones, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. Two Nexus devices? That would just be freaking.
Ashley, you're on board with LG, right?
Yeah, I've been on board with them since
Heck
Optimus
yeah.
G.
Ashley and LG, they go way back.
I'm basically Edgar. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm the new Edgar.
Not. Yeah.
All right, so we got a reply from Muzaffar about YouTube. He sent me a link. He posted on Google Plus about it. It's actually on the web version. And
Yeah, that's what I
just
was looking
checked.
at.
I don't have it, but it's like, there's tabs for share, embed, email. There's a new tab for GIF. Doesn't show up on my YouTube, but so maybe that's something that they're rolling out slowly. But that's really cool.
Yeah, they do that a lot. They test like certain features and stuff. I mean, months before they roll out to anyone else. But I mean, even with the new player controls, like some people have had that for like over a month now. Yeah, but I don't have that, man.
Yeah, neither.
That'd be so awesome.
That will be cool. Because I use the Imager thing a lot to make GIFs.
Yeah.
So easy. All right, so let's move on to our next topic. With this, HTC made some people mad. They put a fantastic
man, the great
notifications.
The great HTC debate. Yeah, so HTC. Yeah, so Fantastic Four is coming out soon, apparently. I'm sure it's going to be a great movie, but HTC.
I'm not so sure.
Kind of like Sort of like how, I mean, you've seen like sponsored. I mean, what was it? Galaxy S6 has. I mean, they're Avengers themes, and these are like officially licensed and all this stuff, and they're like a partnership with Marvel for like this promo thing. HTC is doing the same thing, but they're doing it for Fantastic Four, so they made their own Fantastic Four theme, and to kind of, I guess, just to let their users know that they now have this Fantastic Four theme in their little theme store, they pushed a notification to people's notification tray, and it pissed off a whole lot of people because, well, at first no one even knew it was about the theme. They just thought they were pushing a Fantastic Four ad.
Yeah, that's what I originally thought it was when I saw the story.
Yeah, and it looks like it. I mean, there's only one little tiny, like, I mean, a little tiny word at the end, theme. But like, other than that, like, if you expand the notification, it's a full-blown poster for Fantastic Four. It doesn't show the theme at all. It's a full-blown poster for Fantastic Four. Tells you when it's going to be in theaters, all that stuff, and you're just like, wait, what? Why are they showing me a Fantastic Four ad on my phone that I paid for? And people got really pissed off. I mean, there's people that are swearing off HTC now and want to throw their phones in the trash, and I'm not quite as offended. It doesn't really bother me that much, but for some people, it's like, this is the last straw. And I mean, we kind of saw hints of this back when they brought ads to BlinkFeed, which is their little news aggregator thing, and people weren't really too keen on that either. But there's an option. There's an option you can swipe over and you can turn it off if you go into the options for Sense Home to get rid of targeted ads. Even then, the wording's kind of weird because it says, do you want to disable targeted ads? And you're like, is that going to turn off ads altogether, or is that just going to turn off targeted ads? So now you're going to show me like women's underwear when I don't really care. That's what always gets me about that stuff. But I mean, I think when you uncheck it, it actually just does stop the ads and stuff. But people are just really, really upset. And HTC is actually not the only one even doing this. On Sony phones, they have one for a much worse movie for Pixels.
Oh God! Oh God!
And they did almost the exact same thing. They pushed a notification saying, "Hey, we got a new theme in our theme store, Pixels." But their expanded notification didn't say like in theaters now or anything weird like that. It was just like, "Or check out our Pixels thing," and then they have like their phones showing off the theme. So that was like, okay, like that's not really as bad at all. It's like basically saying, here's a new theme that's kind of based off of this really amazing movie, Academy Award nominated movie. But HTC's way of going about it was pretty bad, I think. I mean, I just don't understand like the pure outrage, but I mean, I kind of do see people who are kind of like, this is kind of annoying.
Makes you wonder if they got money to push an ad, and to make it not so scummy, they made a theme.
Yeah, that's kind of like the idea here. So I mean, everyone pretty much knows that HTC isn't really doing so hot now with their smartphones, and the One M9 didn't sell nearly as well as they hoped. So they're kind of thinking of new ways to kind of bring in, some money. And ads are Google's been doing it forever. But I mean, the difference between a lot of these other things, like when you go to a website or use one of Google's services, is that stuff's free. You're enjoying a free service or something for free by getting these ads. So by HTC pushing ads on a phone that you paid, hundreds of dollars for.
That just makes me not to ever want to buy an HTC device.
That is kind of frosting some people's weenies. They're not too happy about it.
It's really crazy how bad HTC is doing this year, because I mean, every time we talk about them lately, it's just about ads, putting ads in BlinkFeed, putting ads in notifications now. It's like that they really did not do very well this flagship generation.
Yeah, and then now the ads is like it's just not. It's not good. It's not good at all.
I hope they're working on something amazing right now. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and it sucks because I have people. Oh, Chris is an HTC fanboy, but like I haven't had an HTC phone since the one I made last year. And I've since moved on, but I still like them as a company, and I like the phones they put out and stuff. Just not this year's One M9 kind of just sucked.
All right, so I think a little while ago we were talking about how there hasn't been a new Windows Phone device in a long time, and this week we got some leaked images of the next flagship Windows 10 mobile device from Microsoft. It's called the Lumia 950, and it's actually two devices, Lumia 950 and Lumia 950 XL. And as you can imagine, the XL is going to be like a bigger version. The XL is a 5.7-inch display. The 950 regular has a 5.2-inch display. It's going to support Surface Pen technology, which I don't think there's been a Windows phone that supports a stylus yet, so that'll be really cool. It's going to have like a smart cover, and it has a camera on the back that looks a lot like the shoot, what was it? The Lumia 1020 that had that huge camera.
Wasn't that basically like the Pure View camera that they put in the?
Yeah, they like slimmed it down a little bit, made it look a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know if this probably isn't. Oh wait, no, it is. Sorry, I'm reading this. My first thought was that they just kind of made it look like that. It wasn't actually Pure View, but no, 20 megapixel Pure View camera. And
I gotta say,
there we go.
The XL has triple LED flash.
Dang!
I don't know if I've ever heard of triple LED flash in a phone.
I have not.
It's
pretty
cool.
bright.
out of all the smartphones that I've owned, the Lumia 920 has had the best camera. I've never had an iPhone. I don't know how it compares to an iPhone.
Yeah.
It seriously had the best camera.
I had the 925, which was a little bit newer than the 920 that you had, and I loved the camera on that phone. And I remember the photos from the 1020 were just like...
Yeah, they were gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe them for a smartphone. It was just insane. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you forgot to mention USB Type-C. That's freaking dope. Super dope.
This phone's looking pretty promising. Like I said, it's going to run Windows Mobile or Windows 10 Mobile, I think is how they're phrasing it.
They just keep rebranding.
Yeah. Well, it's like now they want everything to be Windows 10. Everything's Windows 10 this, Windows 10 that. So this is Windows 10 Mobile because basically Windows 10 is going to be the last version of Windows. I don't know if you guys read anything about this, but they're basically just going to be treating Windows 10 like OS X now. It's just going to keep getting updated.
That's the way it should be, though, as fast as technology moves these days.
There's not going to be a Windows 11. I mean, maybe like a long time from now there will be, but Windows 10 is just going to get updated a bunch for a long time. And so, now all these phones will be on that, and they'll be able to do a lot of cool things that you can do on the desktop with like Continuum and now the stylus and all that. So if you are a power Windows user, this phone looks like it might be worth checking out when it comes out. The leaked images right now, it's in like one of those weird black cases to like kind of hide what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it's going to look like for sure.
I hope they keep the polycarbonate body that they had on the original Lumias when they were still Nokias.
Yeah, those were awesome. They were awesome looking. All right, so Lollipop is only on 18% of Android phones, and it has been over a year since it was released.
Yeah, we're approaching like the big release of Android M, so it'll be interesting to see how far Lollipop comes by the time Android M is released.
It won't pass 25%.
You think?
By the time Android M comes out, I bet it won't be past 25%.
All right, let's
it's moving so slow. I mean, what was the last month's number? Because they come out with these numbers every month, right?
Well, they actually, every month, but for some odd reason, they skipped last month, so they skipped June or whatever. July. They skipped July and May, June, July. So I guess back in, I think it was June, it was 11%, 11 point something percent, somewhere around there.
So it only went 7% in 2 months.
Yeah, and that's after all the big releases. This is after Galaxy S6 has already kind of gotten in its swing. LG G4 has been released for a little bit, so that's not a good number. But I mean, we're gonna see. You'll start seeing a lot of smaller devices, or just cheaper, low-end devices that are gonna be launching with Lollipop. So that could, I guess, have the potential to boost that number a little bit. But we'll have to see.
It's weird how the number is still so low because I think of all the major phones, like you were saying, and pretty much all are on Lollipop now.
I mean, my G3 has the Lollipop upgrade, but I have not taken it. I'm rooted and don't want it.
But I mean, I can't imagine there are that many people who are refusing the update like that.
No.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean we're starting to see these big flagships. I mean, get Android 5.1, which is according to numbers, is only like on 2% of people are even on Android 5.1. So it's I don't know if it's an embarrassing number, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
They've definitely had more of an issue with Lollipop than they have with
I think
previous.
Lollipop had a lot of publicized issues that people were kind of wary about too.
Yeah. A lot of, I mean, big devices are kind of holding off on their updates just because of all the weirdness with it. So, Lollipop was to me, it was kind of a fail, big time. But hopefully Android M won't be so bad.
KitKat is still going really strong. That was a good release.
Yeah, KitKat's going like super hard still.
40%.
And then Jelly Bean or something is right behind. So, not too bad. KitKat's good. I don't see anything wrong with KitKat.
KitKat's very good. All right, so our last little bit of news before we get on to our wins and fails is that T-Mobile has officially become the third largest U.S. carrier. They officially passed Sprint. I thought they passed Sprint a while ago, but I guess...
I was going to say, I already thought they were the third largest carrier.
Well, okay, before, and I was kind of like, wait, are they just talking like out their butt again? Because last time, a few months back, or I think it was last year or something, they said that they had passed Sprint as far as like new customers or something, which I mean, that's kind of how you kind of gauge it. But then Sprint, and that was against Sprint, just like as Sprint. But then Sprint has all those other like MVNOs and all that stuff. And then
they do.
They have customers that they jump on their network to do stuff. So Sprint was still larger than T-Mobile in that respect, but so I guess this is official then. T-Mobile is officially number 3.
Yep.
That's freaking awesome.
All that uncarrier stuff has been working.
It has so been working, and that is just out of control. That's awesome.
How much has the uncarrier been working, and how much has Sprint been sucking?
The combination of both, maybe?
Yeah,
Did you guys see, it was John Ledger's post on Twitter. He was just like, Sprint is making big moves, and then he's like, yeah, moving down to number 4. And people were like, oh, burn. Like that.
Oh, no, he did.
This guy is oh, man. Like, that must suck. I mean, normally when a company beats you at something, that's just it. You kind of like, dang. But, like, this fool.
This guy's
out there. He's gonna like rub it in. He's gonna pour salt all over that wound.
He's gonna send a cake to like Sprint CEO.
That's how freaking crazy this guy is.
On it or something.
Enjoy
like, number 4 and frosting or something.
He makes it sting so much more. Oh man.
Yep.
Poor Sprint.
All right. Oh yeah. By the way, have you been using Project Fi since you got it, Chris?
Yeah, I actually just canceled on a couple days ago. August 2nd was my last day. So
still everything working good, getting good coverage and all that.
Yeah, coverage was all right, but I mean, I kind of mentioned it in my post too. It was just like it wasn't that fun to use, and like I had a suspicion that they were pushing me onto Sprint's network more than T-Mobile's, because technically speaking, Sprint has better coverage, so you get more bars with Sprint. But your data speeds are just completely crap, at least in the Los Angeles area. So me and my girlfriend went out, and we were driving around LA and stuff, and then we were doing speed tests. And, yeah, for sure I was on Sprint, because it said I had full bars of LTE, and when I would do a speed test, I was getting barely 1 megabit per second.
Wow, it's seriously that bad?
Yeah, and hers was like 4 or 5, and hers barely had like 2 bars of LTE. So I'm like, okay, that's T-Mobile, and I'm on Sprint for sure.
Is that a typical date for you guys, going around speed testing?
Yeah, that's what we do. Go on a little date, speed test date. So it's pretty bad, and it's just I feel like the Project Fi pushes you onto Sprint a lot more than anyone would really want. So. It was bad because you couldn't load GIFs. I mean, you had to wait for pictures to load and stuff, and it's just like, like what is this? Like it felt like I was back in 2010 or something. Horrible.
I got my Project Fi invite yesterday.
Oh yeah, it's interesting to try it out.
Sign up.
I mean, you could try it out for even like half a month and cancel it, and then they'll refund you the rest of your service. So
that's true.
It's so user friendly and stuff, and it was so easy to cancel and port your number back and forth from Google Voice.
I'm really waiting for them to have more devices because it would be really dumb for like me to switch to it and then my wife be on some other plan because obviously she doesn't want to use a ginormous Nexus 6. They need more devices.
Yeah, I always find girls usually like the big phones. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
They
some
love
of
the
them
big
do.
phones. But yeah, it's kind of weird, and it's cheap enough just to kind of experience it. I think even for a day, you try it for a day, just cancel later. Charge you like $1, $3. But yeah,
All right.
it was weird because I found out I use a lot more data than I thought I did.
Oh yeah,
So,
how much are you using?
well, I was fine when I'm home, but even then it was weird because my data number was still going up even though I was connected to Wi-Fi consistently. So I don't know what happens on phones, but it was registering some like very small percentage, whatever. But when I would go out, I think it was after one weekend I hit like 1.5 gigs, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna hit my 2 gigabyte limit or whatever it was, 1 gigabyte limit, and I did, and I think the most I used was like 3 gigs or something, which just made it more expensive than I would want it to be. So yeah, not very viable option if you use a lot of gigs.
That's what my AT&T plan is, 1 gigabyte for me, and I don't usually go over it.
Well,
But I have that rollover too. Ashley, how much data do you have?
I have 2 gigabytes. My roommate is still grandfathered in on his unlimited plan, and he uses like 5 or 6. So
I totally would too.
When you have it, it's awesome because like usually it was weird because I felt so like I couldn't breathe, like because I'd go out and I'd be like, oh, well, these 5 apps need updated, and usually I would just boop, update, no problem. But now I'm like, I gotta wait till I get home to update those guys, and it's like, oh, I want to watch this video, and I'm like, do I really need to watch that video right now? Maybe I'll wait till I get home to watch that. So it's just like.
And I always want to stream music when I'm out, but I'm just like,
Yeah, it was the music that killed me, and I always stream on the highest extreme quality for like Spotify and everything, so that destroyed it. Like that was the weekend where it was like 1 gig just from driving from here to like my parents' house, and it was like, boom, done. So yeah, not really good for people that do that sort of stuff.
All right, so let's move on to our wins and fails of the week. And my win is going to be news that just came out today. Nexus devices are going to start getting monthly security updates. I guess starting today, they say Nexus 5, Nexus 6, all the Nexus devices except for like Galaxy Nexus. They're going to get monthly security updates, and that is in large part to stage fright.
Thank you, stage fright.
Which is something Ashley will go more in depth later in her wins and fails. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the idea of, because like that's a common thing for PCs is to get security fixes and stuff like that on a regular basis. There used to be a thing called on Windows Update Tuesday or Patch Tuesday, where they'd get like little security type fixes and stuff like that every week. So I like the idea of phones getting on that.
I think the real question, though, will Google be able to stick with that monthly schedule?
I mean,
and of course, everyone right away is like, "Oh, I have no reason to believe why they wouldn't." Well, actually, there's many reasons to believe why they wouldn't.
Hopefully they do. But yeah, it's actually really interesting. Monthly updates. Because I mean, it's always the biggest criticism. Oh, what?
Oh, I got a thunderstorm watch. Sorry, guys.
Oh, it's like Amber Alert or something?
That's what it sounded like. I was like, we interrupt this program to bring you in live weather.
No, I have a weather, because I live in the South, and we get crazy tornadoes, so I have a weather alert app that lets me know.
Just that noise, it like chills me, because that usually means like bad things. As a kid, I would hear that, and if I was like home alone, I'd be like flipping the F out.
To me, like growing up where I grew up, that noise means tornado. So.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, so my fail of the week is going to be the Yotaphone 2 is not coming to the U.S. despite what they told us many times. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yeah, they were really trying to bring it to the U.S. And then they had that successful Indiegogo campaign. So I mean, it was pretty modest to say that things like they were looking for like 200,000, and they got well above that. But despite that, still they said they can't do it. Like I guess they're having manufacturing problems, which is really odd. But they did promise to bring the Yoda Phone 3 to the U.S. next year, which I think will probably be unveiled sometime soon in Russia, and then probably at CES. So
Yeah.
in January. So that's not too far off. But
I still have not been able to play with one of those, and I still want to. Yeah, I
So-
know you say that it's not that great.
wasn't a fan, but it was neat. I kind of liked the idea of it, and it was fun to mess around with. But like
Yeah.
as a phone, I didn't find it that practical.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
So I don't really have a win for this week. I'm gonna pull an Ashley, but I do have a double fail. So, one, the Motorola uploaded a new commercial for the Moto G, and it was actually pretty darn funny. One of the funnier ones. You don't really see that too often. Usually these commercials are just atrocious, but this one's actually pretty good. But it was funny because on the close-up shots of this Moto G 2015, they were actually using a Moto X second gen. So last year's Moto X they were using whenever they did a close-up shot, and it was just the weirdest thing because why would you advertise a phone and show a different phone when it's close up? So it was kind of interesting because of just the debate about this in our comment section, and some guy was like offended. It was like, unless you see this phone in person, don't tell me that it's like blah blah blah, and it was just wow, bro. But I mean, you can line up everything, and you could look at the proximity sensors on the top. It's a Moto X sensors. They don't line up with what the Moto G 2015 is. On the bottom, it's got, this is the biggest giveaway, but they have the IR sensors in the corner. Moto G doesn't have that. Moto X last year has it. And then the way I know it's a Moto X from last year, not this year, is because on the bottom, it's got the little lines that break up the metal band on the bottom, and they're positioned perfectly as the Moto X. So little detective work, but it is 100% a Moto X, and it's funny because I guess nobody really gets on Motorola's case about it, but when HTC did it with their ad last
People
year,
were crazy.
I posted that one too last year, which I kept kind of felt a little bad about, but that thing exploded on Reddit and stuff, and people were just.
I think the HTC one was just worse because, like, they released a phone that looked almost identical to last year's model. At least the Moto X and Moto G are different phones.
Yeah, I mean from the front, and the same goes for the the HTC one I made and stuff. I mean from the front, you can't. That's why they use the Moto X second gen in this advertisement, because even people that were Motorola fans, they couldn't tell a difference, and it's like you really had to be looking, and it was funny. I mean, as you know, we're sitting here dissecting these phones all the time. We're staring at every last curve and stuff, so we always can tell a difference. I don't know if you ever go out and you look at people and look at their phones to see what phone they're using, but that's me.
Yeah, I can tell immediately.
Like, oh, that's a blah blah blah, or oh, that's a
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Like, oh, she's got a Nexus 5. What? How the heck did she end up with that? Like, just weird stuff like that. But yeah, so that's just something we do and something we notice. But my other fail is going to be the Galaxy Note 5. There was a leaked hands-on showing off the phone in the wild for once, and the guy that had the leak or whatever, I think it was Droidlight that posted it, they confirmed a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So once again, I don't know why Samsung's doing this, but they're going backwards in terms of battery capacity. So it's less. I think last year's Galaxy Note 5 was a 3,200 milliamp hour battery, so they shaved off a little bit there to kind of, I guess, get that slim profile that people really care about, right? No, they don't. They don't at all. But so it's not that big of a difference. But I mean, you kind of were. I think people were kind of hoping for a slight increase, not a slight decrease. So
Yeah.
It's just lame skis, and a lot of people are kind of like, I'm not even going to bother with the Note 5. I guess G4, here I come, and yeah, that whole deal. So
G4, here I am.
shame on you, Samsung.
Okay, Ashley.
My win is an extension of what we talked about last week with Razer buying Ouya.
Ooh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, they recently announced that they're going to put all of Ouya's exclusive games on Google Play. So
That's awesome.
if there was a game that you wanted to play on Ouya, but you were like, man, I don't want to be the kind of person that buys an Ouya.
I don't want to be one of those people.
Are these I wonder though, are these games going to be just compatible with the like when you try to install on your device, it's just going to say like Ouya only, or is it going to? Or
I'm pretty sure that they're going to make them available to any Android user that has Google Play.
that would just be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. Because there's some good exclusives on Ouya.
Yeah, there are. They had Towerfall, which, I mean, it's on PS4 now, but Towerfall was like the reason to own an Ouya while it had its 6-month exclusive period.
Yeah.
So.
Dang.
But my fail for the week is, of course, the stage fright vulnerability Joe talked about briefly. I'm just going to read this explanation off that I have here. The exploit in question happens when a hacker sends an MMS message containing a video that includes malware code. What's most alarming about it is that the victim doesn't even have to open the message or watch the video in order to activate it. The built-in Hangouts app automatically processes videos and pictures from MMS messages in order to have them ready for the phone's gallery app. So you definitely want to disable the auto retrieve in Hangouts if you haven't already. It can affect you. I think there were some text apps that updated and said that they had protection for stage fright, but it's not really protection.
Yeah. I mean, they can kind of prevent it, but it's not.
They can warn you a bunch. So like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Hey, yo, this could happen if you do this. Are you sure?
Yeah. But that's pretty interesting. The stage fright thing I actually didn't even know about. I mean, people are making a big deal about it, but I mean, it's just one of those things that I mean, I guess they discovered at one of those black hat convention things in Las Vegas, and they're like, oh, we found an exploit, but nobody was really using the exploit and this and that. And I mean, I guess someone would have to have your phone number, right, just to
they would
kind of exploit your phone or whatever. So it's kind of scary, but not that. Like, not like everyone's in danger, I guess.
I think it's still the reason that Google announced today that Nexus devices are getting their monthly security update.
I think it totally is.
It did have some benefits, but I mean, because usually they would have to like push out a system update, usually when they bug fixes and all that stuff. So this is kind of cool. Monthly releases. It's awesome. Android's so secure now. It's so secure.
Got some breaking YouTube news.
GIFs again? GIFs
300. Again? You know how popular videos always freeze at 301 views?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is no longer going to be a thing.
No way.
YouTube just announced that they're going to have more up-to-date view counts for immediately. If you don't know about 301, basically like they would freeze it at 301. I don't know why. There's some story about why 301, but basically they'd freeze it there just so that they could have time to sort out like fake views from like bots and stuff to real views, and then once they were able to figure out the real views, they would add that. So now they're gonna like any view that they're for sure is a genuine view, they'll add it. And then the ones that are a little bit more questionable, that could be bots, they'll check and then add those later on. So it won't be like 100% up to date, but it will be more up to date than just frozen on 301.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
All right, so let's do some app picks. Mine is an Android app called Play Music Alarm. I have been really... What?
You found it.
Yeah, kind of. I have been really obsessed with the playlist on Google Music lately. I love the thing where you can just like go on and it'll be like, hey, it's Wednesday afternoon, and then have all these different activities and things. I just love that. I think it's really cool. I use it all the time. And I really like the Wake Up playlist that they have, and I wanted to use one of them as my alarm in the morning. I couldn't figure out how to do it. It's not like in the Google app or anything like that. And there are apps that you can like use other apps for alarms, but I wanted it to be a specific playlist. So I was just searching and I found this app called Play Music Alarm, and it kind of has a hacky way of doing it. Basically, it will just start playing the last playlist that you've played. So if you make sure that, you know, the Wake Up playlist is the one that you last played, you put in your time that you want to wake up, you can set the volume, and then it will gradually reach that volume in the morning with the playlist that you last played. It works really well. I've used it the last 3 nights, and it's worked every time. And I like it a lot. It's free, and it's for Android. If you like Google Play, go for it.
Nice. My app pick is going to be it's an app called Tripcase, and it was a friend of mine actually turned me on to this. But basically, what it does is it just kind of stores your entire like itinerary in this handy little app, and the UI is really awesome, and it's so like clearly laid out and everything. So it's for when you go traveling. Shows your flight times and destination and how long you'll be there and when you're going to get back. And basically, what it does is when you get these emails from, I guess, your travel, the airlines or whatever, you forward that over to like your own trip case special email, and then it stores it in the application. It's actually pretty cool because you can send this whole like itinerary to somebody. So like your wife or girlfriend or someone, you can send this to them, and they can see, when you're going to get back and all that stuff, and it's just the UI and everything is really cool. So I guess the trip case thing is supposed to be like kind of like a briefcase for your trip, the next trip that you go on. And if you travel a lot, it's actually pretty helpful and useful. I love it. I think it's pretty awesome.
Cool.
My app is called Moonreader Plus. It's probably the best ebook reader on Android right now, like even better than Playbooks. Yeah, it recently got updated with material design, but they're celebrating their 5th year on the Play Store, so right now they've got 50% off of the Pro version, and it is 100% worth it if you read ebooks at all.
I do, but I buy them from Google Play, so I don't know if it would work.
Yeah, it'll work with those.
Really? Like books you buy in Google Play, you can play?
I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah.
That's really cool. I might have to check that out now. I thought that Google Play books could only be read in Google Play.
Do they do comics in that thing?
You can do comics if they're PDF format, but if they're the standard comic format, which I can't name off the top of my head right now, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, so let's do some listener questions. We got 3 this week. Yeah, 3. We'll start with Daquan Johnson. Hey guys, what's so good about Force Touch, and why do people want it in the next iPhone? Do you think the next generation will be thicker due to Force Touch, or because Apple's going to use a stronger material for the build? I have never used Force Touch. I don't know that any of us have.
It's life changing. I have used it. It's really weird.
What have you used it on?
The MacBook, the new MacBook. I don't have it on
I
mine.
have a new MacBook like on the way here, so I haven't used it yet.
But you will.
Next week I'll have an opinion for you on that, Daquan.
I was thinking Force Touch was only in the Apple Watch, but you're right. The trackpad has it too.
Yeah, the new one does, and it's weird because it doesn't. There's no click, so they got rid of the whole click mechanism. But it feels like somehow it feels like it. So it knows when you're just lightly pressing it, and when you press it hard, it like clicks. So there's almost, if you didn't tell someone, they probably would think that there's an actual button underneath the trackpad, but there's not, and it's so cool because you could click anywhere on the trackpad. Normally, you can only click the bottoms. You can't click the top corners of a trackpad because it's like a little door or something. But
yeah,
it's pretty darn cool. I didn't know that the new iPhones are even rumored to have this, but that's.
I would expect them to, honestly.
I would guess like an iPhone 7, but like I don't think something as the 6S or something would have. I would think this would be like a big major thing for like the next iPhone.
They will have it eventually. You can guarantee that, and it won't be thicker. You can also guarantee that.
Yeah,
because then they can't say it was thinner.
I think that would make just smartphones in general so much easier to use because you could actually have your finger laying on something and not have to like interact with it until you click it in. That would be.
Honestly, I don't think that's an issue because like that was the appeal of trackballs back in the day, and like Samsung has that hover finger thingy, which is like the same thing. I really don't think people have that big of an issue.
I think Apple can like not only just pull it off, but they make it work really, really well.
Maybe.
It could take
All
off.
right. Next question is from Beast. He says, so I'm going to be purchasing my first Android Wear watch. I settled on the Sony Smartwatch 3 because of my active lifestyle. I'm curious to see what you guys recommend as some must-have apps for Android Wear and which current or soon-to-be current watch is drawing your attention. Thanks again. Love the podcast. So apps that we use on Android Wear.
I don't use any.
I basically just use the built-in functions
Yeah,
like
it's
checking the
whatever.
weather and stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever is already kind of built into it. There's
Checking the
apps.
weather and getting notifications.
Yeah, that's kind of it. And then the Google Fit stuff, which is already
Mhm.
kind of built in as well. Before the big like OS update though, there was like that one app that gave you like an app drawer and all that stuff. But all that was added fairly recently, so now those apps are like kind of
Yeah.
pointless now.
And I think
Um,
that's one of the good things about Android Wear is you don't need to use a lot of apps on the watch. Because using
yeah,
apps on a watch is generally not that great of an experience.
yeah. It's just basically just install whatever. I guess if he's going to be using it for fitness stuff, just install your favorite fitness app and it should be compatible. I think they
Right.
announced like not too long ago. I think it was a month ago or something. They had a bunch of new partners and stuff. So
Yeah, like all those apps like Endomondo, Runkeeper,
mhm.
what are some other ones? MyFitnessPal, stuff like that. They all pretty much work. So,
Yeah.
and watch that we're looking forward to. I'm pretty sure Moto 360 2 is probably what we're
Yep.
looking forward to.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Last question, real quick, from Alan Urista. So the new Oppo R phones have been announced, but the new Find 9 phone has not, which is their main flagship. Do we have any news on when that will be released? I checked Fandroid when I got this email, and it does not look like we have any news on the Find 9. Sorry.
No.
All right, so that's going to wrap things up this week. We are over an hour again. We've been very talkative the last few weeks. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to send us an email or a comment, you can use our address podcast@mobileroar.com. You can also tweet at us with our Twitter handle @mobileroarcast. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and anywhere else. You can follow us individually on Twitter. Chris is @GamerCore, Ashley is @OverlordRoar, and I am @TallSchmo. And we will see you guys next week. Later.
Later. You sound so much better with a pop filter.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, was I popping and locking before?
Yeah, you were.
What number is this? Export.
104.